I woke up this morning with new wisdom on my mind. I know who I am. There's no need to hide. I got something to say. I'm thinking that it's time. Why? Cause I'm a young intellect. I'm a young intellect. I'm a young intellect. I'm a young intellect. Pay me my respect.
You are now tuned in to the Young Intellect podcast, an open space where experiences and opinions are welcomed, hosted by Andreas, Sam, and Mafwa.
Welcoming you to our open space to teach, learn, laugh, and love.
And I am your co host, Sam, here to encourage you to explore different ways to view the world at large.
So, this week we have a really interesting topic because I feel like we've never done something like this on our show before, or our podcast, if I should say. And we did want to go into the situation of Derrick Jaxn and not really speak on him too much and judge him or his wife, but really dissect it and go into the psychological and mental aspect of it, and also the manipulation that happened from his part to the public, to those around him, and really just speak on that. And because it's really interesting on how he was able to do this and build a following on lies. But he portrayed himself as one thing, but he was really another way.
Yes, and just like background story. So Derrick Jaxn is like a relationship guru. I believe he's on Instagram and like all the platform and YouTube. So he give advice to women about men. So he's basically like, some men don't really like him because they feel like he was fake from the beginning. Like no man will really tell like the secrets of men. And he targets like, specifically he targets Black women as his audience, his gauge, the people he wants this message to reach. I did see a few of his videos. It's not like his advice were bad, but he just like used his personal life, because recently it came out that he cheated on his wife, and no one really knew that he had a wife in the beginning. Like no one knew that he was married. He never posted his wife, never had anything. So at the beginning he wanted to portray like, I guess, a single man, so like women would probably be like more interested in him now, for his advice, and also for the fact that they might think like he's one of the good men and he's single and stuff like that. So that's his image. That's the image he presented to people.
Yes, and we just wanted to speak on that because he really came across one way, and it was his brand. That's why, and his target market were Black women who wanted Black men, and he did that so perfectly until he slipped up and got caught. So we just wanted to speak on that and how, you know, I just think the lesson of this is that the way people present themselves on social media is literally ad space, because how many people are using Facebook, how many people are using Instagram, how many people are using TikTok. You can't expect them to show up as themselves. They are going to show up as something that is convenient for them, especially if they're making money from that. So these influencers, these people, don't be surprised when they're doing the complete opposite of what they say, because they are playing into what we want to hear, what we want to see, and they're making money from it. And that's that. It doesn't mean that they're that way or they live by these standards. It's not that, really.
So a small disclaimer, like this situation is more than weakness and giving into desires. It's also manipulation and intention to deceive other people for personal gain. And the perpetuator is a narcissist. Well, I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not gonna diagnose him with narcissism, but he seems to come across as being narcissistic.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about this, we don't know all the parts of the situation. We don't know what's going on behind the doors. We don't know any some crucial details that might play into the situation, but we want to speak on what we've seen in the media, what's been displayed to us.
Yeah, so we are just speaking from how it's been painted, and I actually do want to give a twist on how maybe it hasn't been painted, because loads of people are saying that it looks like this, that, so it is this, that. But before, when he was painting himself as this is that, so they were saying, okay, yeah, he's a man of God and he loves black women and he won't cheat on his woman. He knows it all because that's how he was presenting himself as. But it came out that it was completely opposite. So I wouldn't even believe how it's being painted. We just really want to speak on the situation and really how he comes across.
Hmm. So, the first thing is that he does come across as narcissistic, and he's using like innocent people to lessen the impact on himself, like basically his wife, using his wife, because like I've said earlier, no one really knew his wife, no one really knew what she looked like, no one really knew what anything about her. She was living her life under the radar, and he was in the spotlight. So when everything hits the fan, that's when like we know about his wife. That's when we saw her physically, and the way that she was presented to us was kind of like was I'm not trying to like say anything about her physical appearance because she is a beautiful woman, but the way like she came they came on the camera, she just looks like she just rolled out of bed and like didn't really get to do anything, because especially when you come in on social media is kind of harsh. And like I felt like maybe he should have given her more time. I don't know what was going on to just not have social. I felt like, okay, let me take a step back. I felt like social media was so worried more about like her at the end of the day, or like how she looked or like what she said, than they were about the fact that he cheated.
Mm. I think with that also, I personally, I didn't even think twice about the way she looked in the video until people brought it up, and I would say she, if she didn't want to change the way she looked, she didn't have to, because that's not what they were there to talk about, and it just goes to show how people will make themselves look a certain way, even though that's not how they are, or that's how they're feeling, or that it represents them. They will make themselves look perfect, and you can't. And that's why I don't think the audience who are watching this are much different to him if they're focused on her looks, because they're really just focused on the outside things rather than how she truly feels, and it's very shallow.
And with using his wife, it's like kind of use her as a scapegoat, because like the way she like came across as well, like what she was saying, it just seemed like she wasn't really, she didn't have a mind of her own. That's how some people would interpret it, or she was being forced, or had like a type reader to just read off things to be like, yes, this is what it is. Yes, my husband cheated on me. Everything he said is correct. What he just said was true. I left him for 5 minutes and then I came back, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. And then the conversation really shifted into her being the focus. Everything more so is about her than him and his cheating.
Yeah, and I think that's where the narcissism comes in, because maybe he had her on there looking like that, so it wasn't, or I don't even think looking like that, just had her on the video of him apologizing for his actions, even though he never brought her up before, to take attention off of him and his actions and place it on her. Because even if she looked good, people would be like, oh my gosh, your wife is so beautiful, how could you cheat on her? And it still takes away from the fact that he is apologizing or attempting to apologize for actions that he did wrong, and people will be overlooking that whole part, the actual point of the video, and focusing on the wife in the video. And it was a tactical move, because now people don't really care about what he's saying as much, and what he has to say, and the accountability he has to take for his actions. But now they're focused on the wife, and that was very narcissistic, because he didn't want to face the consequences of his actions, so he did that.
Yeah, because when he was doing those actions, he was doing it himself, not with his wife. I would assume. I'm not sure, but from what I've seen, he was doing those things by himself. So why not? Like even the dating videos he never had his wife on to give like another perspective, a woman's perspective, or like have a dual in one of his videos. Why not just be yourself? Why not have that video yourself? Why not like issue the apology yourself? And I do agree with you that he is kind of using that, just using her just to shift the focus.
Exactly. And he also spoke in third person a lot, which was disassociating himself from his actions. So he'll be like, what he did was wrong and he should be punished for his actions. And the thing is, when you're saying it like that, I could be talking about a murderer who is completely different to me. And I could be thinking of a completely different case and just separating it from me and the actions. So that's basically what he did. And it just shows that he doesn't really take full accountability for his actions. And I don't know if this is actually how he is or if this is a show, but either way, it is so impressive and so tactical because he's making money from this.
Yeah, he is. And I wanted to say, like, the video that I saw him refer himself to in third person was like him reacting to it, which is very weird because why would you do a reaction to a video that you put out? If you were sincere in my eyes, why would you react to video that you put out of you trying to apologize for being conniving and tricking people into thinking that you're something that you're not and you're a whole cheater?
Exactly, and it's a whole brand. It's a brand what he's doing. He played on what black women want for a black man, and he fed into that. I don't think he actually cares that much about it, but he noticed. He's a businessman. He noticed that if he can get in from this point, he can capture these women's bags and hearts and everything, and have a solid fan base that will always give him money. Because at the end of the day, women want a black women want black men. Not all, but most of them want. I can't say most, but for the black women who want black men, they want the black men that he was portraying, the
Mm-hmm.
strong, big, muscular man who loves black women and will do whatever for black women, who stands by black women. And he noticed that and he played on that and he made money from that. And that's his brand. So does he really care? No, which is why
No.
he does things like reaction videos to his own video and speaks in third person and doesn't take accountability for his actions because he doesn't actually feel accountable. It's his brand.
Yeah, the person that he was displaying in these videos was probably the persona that he just created from his own experience. Not that the advice were bad. It was just like the thing, how I view this is like, okay, he was doing all this bad stuff. And then he would come on camera and just be like, you see, this is what you shouldn't do, and portray himself as being like this good man. But he was probably using examples from his everyday life of what he's doing behind the camera, what he's doing behind the sheets to give advice, which was sound advice